Those who were actually responsible for the failures, in most cases, were permitted to keep their jobs, and in some cases were actually promoted.
That's correct.
How does that feel to you? And what is your speculation about the way that this has happened? Because, I compare it to the Super Bowl. We got skunked on 9/11. Yep. And a team that loses the Super Bowl gets a new coach, a new defensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, maybe even a whole new offensive team. But we kept the same people in place. Very few protocols or procedures, including the FAA and NORAD. We created this new intelligence czar, but there's no indication that the FBI is communicating better with the CIA and the NSA than it did before 9/11. So seeing failure rewarded, what signal does that send you?
Well, it sends the wrong message out. It's, like when I went and reported and Sib Albert reported what she saw, we got retaliated against. I mean, they wanted us out. And they were going to do everything they could. I mean, they threatened my family. I mean, there's just so much, and the stress was unbearable. But you wanted to keep going because you knew that, or you were hoping anyway, that, somebody was going to do what's right. Instead, you find that these people that were responsible were not only getting promoted, some of them were able to retire and come back as contractors and make more money. It's just amazing. It's like it's this mentality, this culture that we're going to take care of each other, and you don't tell don't tell on me, and I won't tell on you. It sends a bad message out because people are afraid to report anything that goes on that's wrong, so they allow it. They allow it to happen. They say, "Well, I'm going to turn my head, take a blind eye to that because I want to be able to retire," and that's unfortunate. And they don't want to go through the retaliation.
It's true, and I agree with you. How about the cases that are not even explained by this particular justification? And let's talk about one of the, you were quoted by Jeff Stein on this issue of Israeli lobby and the espionage by Israel, and how the State Department and the lobby pressure basically is able to make these investigations and some really high-level criminal espionage and criminal conduct and investigation operations just evaporate and go away. Can you tell us about that?
That's not just the Israeli. They have a huge lobby, and they have a lot of influence in government, in our government. And if they put enough pressure on it, the United States, we want to make sure, or I should say people within the government want to make sure that we don't rock the boat. We don't want to send a bad message out to the Israelis that, we're not going to support them or whatever, that they're our allies. We need them, especially right now with this war on terror, which I hate to use that term. But
thank you.
But and don't get me started on that because I was so far against the war.
Saddam Hussein.
But anyway, there's several things. I mean, I can go back, and I think Sybil and I talked about this before. There was when I started causing all these problems with the Southeast Asia desk that I ran at headquarters, and I was bringing all these issues up about the espionage and the problems within the FBI. They decided to go ahead and transfer me and put me in and had me handle the Sub-Saharan African desk, thinking that there was nothing going on in Sub-Saharan Africa. John can't cause any problems. We'll just leave him there and just keep him quiet. Well, the only problem with that is they had the issue with Niger, with the whole the Iraqi government was trying to obtain plutonium from Niger, or uranium from Niger.
Yellow cake,
And then there was also the case with the anthrax investigation, Hatfield, and then the other thing that came to my desk was an espionage case on a language specialist at Washington Field Office. Well, the thing is that when I read through that espionage investigation, first of all, the first thing that struck me was a preliminary inquiry, which I thought, why is this a preliminary inquiry when this is an espionage investigation against a former, this guy had left the FBI, a former FBI language specialist. So I made it a full investigation. I started reading through the file, and I said, boy, this guy should be arrested. We have enough in the file to arrest him and for a conviction. And I asked to take the file up to the U.S. Attorney to see if there was enough for him to prosecute, which I'm sure there would have been enough evidence in there to go ahead and make the arrest. And I was told not to. The only thing I could think of is the politics involved. The FBI did not want to have any bad press come out about, oh, we have another spy in the FBI. And it's like this with a lot of these other things. We want to make sure that we have this relationship with Israel. They have a huge lobby in D.C. They give a lot of money to politicians. The politicians don't want to hear it. They don't want to do anything negative against the Israelis. They don't want to have any bad press about the Israelis. The Israelis are spying on us. They're stealing our technology. They're doing all these nasty things to us in our own country. That's not going to look good if we want to have a good relationship with Israel. So everything is quieted down. They just as soon say, well, no, we don't have any problem. Everything's fine.
And John, if I may, this article from Congressional Quarterly, which quoted you, really surprised me because I'm aware of the Jonathan Pollard case. Most people are. This goes back quite a ways, and he's considered a hero in Israel, and they repeatedly pressed the U.S. government to commute his sentence and release him.
Right.
But it's clear that he was not only spying for Israel, but he was selling his information to other countries, including Pakistan.
That's correct.
But they quote you as saying that in a 2-year period alone, from 1993 to 1995, that you were managing at least 125 open cases of Israeli espionage. Now, this is astounding to me because it suggests that this is quite pervasive, and if we just take that snapshot and apply it to the last 20 or 30 years, then this is a very significant effort by one of our allies to steal our information, presumably exclusively for their own use, but we have no way of controlling it once they get a hold of it. So give us a sense of how widespread this is and how much we should be concerned about an alleged ally that has such a detailed espionage operation in the United States.
I think it should be of great concern. We give the Israeli government a ton of money and support, and we also give them a lot of military equipment and some of the new technologies we have to help them out. What they try to get from us, the Israelis, what we don't give them, they try to get from us, basically. And what winds up happening is we're finding out, they wind up using the technology they steal, basically, to enhance their capabilities. But they also they use it and transform it into their own systems, which they wind up selling to countries that the United States does not want those countries to have that technology.
Mm-hmm.